It has been a moment since I talked about age gap on this channel. I did a few videos back in time, and you are more than welcome to check them out. But today I want to respond to one of my viewers and share my thoughts on the age gap a few years later, as more life experience had kicked in, and in general, our views tend to change and evolve with time. So you're very welcome to share your opinions. I still believe that age gap is a very important subject to discuss, because in certain kinds of dating and relationships in marriages, it could be prevalent and very important, such as in Eastern Europe. Women generally prefer, not only don't mind, but prefer to be with a man who is a little bit more experienced, more established, who can be a little bit more of authority, so to speak, and in general, just leader in life, somebody who knows what he's doing, somebody who have experience and does not need a woman to guide him. My observation that in United States, partner relationships are probably more prevalent when people are often about the same age, which I believe works better, I would say, in the second part of life than in the beginning. I think that when you start, if we're talking about early stages in life, equal being equal could be very difficult, because if a man did not have advantage of time on his hands, it's harder for him to provide and offer good conditions for a woman he's going to be with. For example, if you're planning to have children, if you want to have a homestead wife, if you're 20, 25, up to 30, you have not built anything. Maybe you had. There are people, of course, men like that, but it's harder to provide for your wife, for your family in full. And this is where this trap begins, where the woman cannot stay home. There is nobody to raise children. There are iPads who raise children instead of a mother. A child goes to daycare, and I think that's how the bad things start. And I'm convinced that that is the worst scenario, is to be absolutely equal, in this case not being, when a man cannot fully be a leader, he cannot fully be a provider unless he is brilliant, super mature, and open $1 million business in his early 20s, which with technology is often possible. But even in that case, honestly, I believe that men need more time. I believe that when we are growing up, when we are, let's say the young woman is 20 years old, her mental development, her emotional maturity is usually equals to men who is at least 30, 25 or 30. I think that 5 to 10 years, it depends, of course, but women mature faster. I remember being in high school, I could not even look excuse me. Being in high school, I remember those days in high school and college. I remember that I did not even consider did not even consider those boys to be anything rather than friends to go get ice cream with, because we just develop so much faster, and we just made different. So that's a very subjective point of view, but I'm very much set on these ideas because they work in 95% of time. So when a young woman who is 28 or 25 or 30 is marrying a man the same age, it's still not the best situation, because a woman at 25, 28, she's very often ready for a family, or at least it was. Or at least it was to be the age when a woman was very ready to start family. But with men, at least now, modern days, they're barely ready to start, men barely ready to start anything at 35 or 45. I have a lot of friends and girlfriends, and they always laugh, especially my friends from Eastern Europe. They always laugh when they say that, they met somebody and he says he's not ready yet, and he's like in his late 30s or early 40s or mid 40s or even 50s, and he says he's not ready, that he is not ready to settle down yet. It's insane, because most of us were raised by Soviet moms, and in our culture, basically, we were encouraged to get married in early 20s to about 25, maximum 30, maximum. Okay, so but it has been changing, even since we experienced that. It has been changing, it has been pushed back, which has upsides and downsides. It all depends. One size may not fit all, right? But when a man and a woman are the same age, like for example 25, 30, it's almost means that a woman is older, and it doesn't mean that she looks worse. It's not about the looks, it's about the maturity and preparedness for life. Because if a man cannot lead a woman, if a man cannot provide and protect fully, if she has to do half of the work, usually she takes over also all the emotional load, and she kind of becoming slowly this matriarch, so kind of like a mom, which is ruins the dynamic. It doesn't allow deep respect for her to deeply respect her man. It's hard to respect a man who is not a full leader, who is maybe claiming to be, but if you're doing half of the work, or you're doing most of the work, or you taking care of him and calming him down and being a mom, it's not it's going to turn into a very common relationships that we see very often when people just kind of becoming roommates. They are roommates financially because the man is not ahead. This recent case, I know a lot of my viewers don't watch the internet so much, especially Gen Z drama, but I remember when I saw this new couple. I don't really watch this YouTuber. Her name is Liz, Wizard Liz. I tried to watch her years ago, but she's just not somebody I can resonate with. Plus, I think her videos are really for teenagers. But I just saw an update some time ago that she has a fiance, and I remember I only saw their photos, and I thought he looks very immature. Like they're probably the same age. He may be even 2 years older, or something like that. But he really looks immature. He looks like a boy. So, ladies, if you're watching me, remember, there's one secret to life to always look young and beautiful, is to have a man who is a lot more mature. Even if you don't have that big of an age gap, still man who is at least very serious. He has to be either older and mature, or if you are not too far in age, maybe just a few years, then he needs to be professional. He needs to be very focused and very serious, because in other cases, women becoming matriarchs, they becoming mothers to their men, and that is not a good thing. But in the dating world that I was consulting and helping men understand Slavic women for many years, I encountered more of the situation where it was older men who are mature, seasoned, so to speak, seasoned gentlemen, um, wanting to have a relationship and potentially marriage with younger women. And I would say that in many cases it worked, except for the cases where that age gap was an obsession, where you either, as a man, you want to get back at your ex-wife and you want to show her, here, look, I got this woman who is half your age, and look how hot she is and how pretty she is, and she treats me so much better. When men were obsessed about that, it seemed to be they either wouldn't get who they wanted, or they would get somebody and it would not be a good match, because it's a wrong focus. It really is a wrong focus. By wrong focus, I mean that um, even though we have our preferences, but we are not machines. We are not machines. And because of that, it is important to make sure that things are reasonable and your values are aligned. By things are reasonable is that as a mature man, you still need to imagine if this woman, if there is any chance that this woman would be with you if you were not as established, if you would not have this very nice home, if you would not have this very nice car, like, is there a chance that she would be even interested? Or it's very, very obvious that, I'm sorry, is there a chance that she would be interested? Or it is very, very obvious that she probably would not be interested, because uh, not only the age gap, but you are so far away from each other. You don't look that great together. You look like maybe father and a daughter, or grandfather and a daughter. Just be honest. Imagine that this was your daughter. Would you approve your own self as a candidate? So as long as it's not something outrageous like this, outrageous only works in the case when somebody is very, very rich and they don't care. Neither sides are caring. But mature man can offer a lot to a woman in terms of support, in terms of his decision making, his place in life. I'm sorry. Oi. A mature man can offer a lot to a woman. His experience, knowledge, authority, of course, being able to take care of things financially, but even more important, it's emotional maturity and appreciation. There is something about appreciation that man who is at least 10, 15, 20 plus years older, he always appreciates you. In most cases, he understand how lucky he is. He always sees you as young, as beautiful, and he feels like he won the lottery. It's a beautiful thing and a beautiful feeling, as long as there is real some chemistry and appreciation from both sides, and common interest, as long as there is some good ingredients. And very often I've heard from my clients that they would tell me that women from Eastern Europe, they feel about on the same level of development. When there is that age gap, they feel that women are more very wise for their age, almost wise beyond their age. So they didn't feel that they are cannot connect or have a good conversation. It's really, really important to align on your values, especially if you're planning to have children, because I know even people who are a little bit older, often they plan to have children still. So that is the most important thing, because if you want to have children, you want to be aligned on certain issues, because especially nowadays, it's very, very important to be aligned and look in the same direction. So yes, I think that being reasonable is very, very important. um, no matter which way you go, there are mature women that like younger men, and I think it depends on the purpose of the relationship. It can also work very well sometimes. There are women who are very established and they really don't want a man to take care of them at all. Financially, they want to have adventure and fun and laughter and, I don't know, going climbing some jungles, traveling. So they don't really care at all. They just want a man who has a lot of time. This could be a thing, depends on where you are in life, but in general, I think that the age gap and where in life the person is needs to be aligned for the goal of the relationship, because every relationship, especially marriage, should have a goal. Some people get together, they have kids from previous marriages and they want to raise them together, they want to have big full family. Some people decided not ever to have children and they are meeting each other and they are happy that neither of them have children, so they only looking for a union because they want to do things together, they want to have this life partnership. Some people did not have children but really want to have them even if later in life, and they are united with that purpose. Some men were married before, some had children prior, some didn't, but some want to have more, want to expand, so they always justify wanting a young woman, because they want to have children. So always reasonable, right? Or always sounds reasonable. No matter what it is, it should make sense for the purpose. So it's very, very important to align this, just literally taking pen and paper, writing it down and checking out if it actually makes sense, because a lot of things could be prevented when you look at the facts and considering your goals. It's not actually that hard to figure out. There are many examples when things work out, but again, those men who were unreasonable, who wanted a woman to be completely out of their league appearance wise, they also want the woman to be younger than their daughter, they also were not that wildly successful, because obviously when you're a billionaire you can have anything you want, right? It's just, it would make me actually sad when I would see this, because I realize this person will never, the chances of finding that are very, very tiny, and if you find that, you probably it probably won't even be real or last long. For example, when a 60 something 64, 65 year old man want to have a woman who is 35, I mean, theoretically you can try to find it, but how long is going to last? And would she really be in love with you? The chance of it is about 10% or less. So just think about this when you consider different options, and feel free to write your ideas and thoughts below, and we can continue the conversation.